Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest transfer news. So earlier today we talked about Arsenal agreeing terms with a secret player, and I had a few guesses in that video, but my main guess was actually CUNHA from Wolves because his team is fighting to survive the Premier League, and I thought, listen, if it's a team that doesn't want to sell their player because they're fighting for something this season, it could be CUNHA. Turns out to be him. It's actually him. It's actually him. So maybe it should work for us though. But hey, let's get to that piece of news. This is the latest on MATHEUS CUNHA. So according to reports from T News and Ticks, MATHEUS CUNHA is the player Arsenal are close to reaching terms with. It will be difficult to take him out of Wolves, however. So yeah, MATHEUS CUNHA is the player that Arsenal have been linked to, or we've been talking with him in terms of if he wants to join Arsenal, and we are close to agreeing personal terms with him. I think CUNHA will probably want to join Arsenal. I think moving from Wolves to Arsenal is an upgrade, and Wolves is a good team, by the way. This one is not been great for them, but I think moving from Wolves to Arsenal would be an upgrade for him. The fact that you have a lot of Brazilians in the team as well, I think he would probably want to join Arsenal. He probably also knows that Arsenal have a few issues in terms of forward players. He would definitely get an opportunity to play there. So I'm sure the player would want to join Arsenal. But would Wolves want him to leave? That's the other thing. I don't think so. I don't think Wolves would want him to leave. They're currently, they've been in the bottom three a lot of this season, and a couple of defeats for them, they could still go down. They have to, they have to survive this season. I can't see them breaking to the top 10. I can't see them even getting to the top 13. Only 19 games remaining. They are going to lose some, they're going to win some, they're going to draw some. And for them to have a good chance of surviving, they have to keep MATHEUS CUNHA. That's the thing. Signing players in the middle of the season, a lot of teams have different ambitions. Teams like Newcastle, if you want Isaac, they're fighting for top 4. They're in a semi-final against us in the Carabao Cup. They're looking for their first trophy in a long time. They're looking to get back to the Champions League. Signing a player from Arsenal or Liverpool would be impossible because those teams are fighting for the title. Going to sign a player from Real Madrid or Barcelona would be impossible because they're fighting for the title. Atletico Madrid, same. And anything that is fighting for Champions League, Europa League, battling to survive relegation, it's always difficult to buy players from there. Now, they might still sell them, but you'd have to pay a lot of money. So if someone like MATHEUS CUNHA is worth 10 million, let's say, they know that they definitely need him, and they know that Arsenal are desperate for a forward player. They could easily say, you know what, instead of 10 million, let's ask for 60 million because they're desperate. That is how teams take advantage of desperate teams at a certain point. For example, a few seasons ago, Man United with Anthony, Ajax knew that Man United were desperate for Anthony, and they kept on, they asked for a crazy price, and that is what happened. So anything that is desperate for a striker right now, and there's a lot of teams at the end of the season, I'm sure Liverpool will be looking for a striker, Arsenal will be looking for a striker, a team like Chelsea might be looking for a striker, and you never know. Most of the big teams could be looking for strikers, and the teams that have good strikers and they know there's other teams that are desperate, they have the ball is basically in their court. They can ask for whatever price. They can ask to keep the player. That applies to Newcastle with Zach. That applies to Sporting with Gyökeres. Sporting cannot give Gyökeres to Man United right now. Man United want him, but Sporting don't have to. They can ask for 200 million because they know how desperate Man United are at this very moment. That applies to every single team. So they don't have to sell him. But for us, we definitely do need him now. I did say when we were linked to him a week ago or something, I did say that MATHEUS CUNHA, he's a player like Gabriel Jesus, but he would definitely add quality to our team, and he definitely add quantity to our team. But he is a player like maybe he's a better finisher than Jesus, but similar traits in terms of getting the ball, dribbling past a few players. He can play on the wing and all that, and he's played in the Premier League before. So again, another thing I said when we talked about CUNHA last week is this signing would remind me of like a Trossard signing, and the Trossard signing worked. Signing a player from a Premier League team. That time it was easier to sign Trossard because he had fallen out with the manager, but this signing would remind me of that. You bring in a player who's played in the Premier League for a few years, he's been scoring goals, he's been assisting goals, he knows what he needs to do when he comes up against the Liverpool and he comes up against an Everton, he knows all that. So this would be a great signing. And back in the day, we never used to sign players from Premier League teams at all. Recently is when we started signing players like Cedric and David Luiz and Rice and Havertz and all those players. We never used to sign players from Premier League teams. It used to be from France, Spain, Monreals, Cazolas, all those players. We used to sign players from different countries. But signing Premier League experienced players is very, very beneficial, and CUNHA would be one of them. Let's go to this again. According to Sami Mokbel, Arsenal are interested in signing Matheus Cunha, but it will be difficult to sign him in January. Wolves want to reward him with a new contract. Now, I think this goes down to the player, and I don't know. I don't know the character of the player. I don't know him personally, but he's currently suspended, by the way. I thought his suspension would be more, but it's only 2 games. He's going to miss the FA Cup and the Premier League game. So if he joined us today, he wouldn't miss too many games. Hopefully, if we actually do sign him, hopefully he doesn't end up playing in the FA Cup, because if he plays in the FA Cup for Wolves, if he comes to us and is not able to play in that competition, it will be a same situation like Neto. So we don't want that. We need him in all competitions if we do sign him. So for Neto, would you guys want to sign Neto? Bring Neto to us. So when you talked about his stats so far this season, he's played 18 games in the Premier League. He scored 10 goals and he has 4 assists. So that is a good return. 14 goal returns in 18 games. That is great. And he's doing it in the Premier League. And in all competitions, 14 in 19. So that is great. Last season, he also had a very, very good season. And last season, he was playing mainly as a striker. This season, he's been playing in behind last season. So last season, he had 32 games, 12 goals, 7 assists. And then in all competitions, he had 22 goal contributions in 36 games, which is great. He's doing it in the Premier League, and he's been really, really lively for them. And at last, versatile players. That is what we've been signing for a lot of years, from Jesus to Timber to Calafiori, all those players that we've signed over the last 3-4 years. It's players who can play different positions. Declan Rice as well included in that. So, and Partey somehow he can also play as a right back. So we do like versatile players, which is great. You want players who can fill in different positions in case of injuries, and Cunha would do that. So does Cunha improve our team? I think it does, both in terms of quality and in terms of quantity. Now, does it take us to the next level, like what you want from Gyökeres and Isaac? Probably not, but listen, Trossard came to Arsenal. He was only 20-something million. At that time, you're looking at players like Mudryk who are 100 million. But Trossard came to Arsenal, and I would say that half season and the full season that he had last season, he was very good in terms of goals and assists, and he contributed. You don't really have to pay 150 million to get, a player who's going to deliver for you. We just have to, be lucky in terms of getting the perfect player who fits into the culture, fits into the team perfectly. And we landed on Trossard with that. He fit in very, very well. If Cunha does the same, that would be great for us. That would be absolutely massive for us. But you never know. Obviously, we know Isaac and Gyökeres would be the perfect signing. But if you can, I don't think Isaac is possible, to be honest, to get him out of Newcastle. You'd have to pay like 200 million. But you rather get Cunha than get no one, pretty much. And if it's between Cunha and someone like Kubo from Sociedad, I'd probably go with Cunha with the Premier League experience, and he's done it and he's ready to go. No need to settle in at all. Just like Declan Rice, you just start right away and you play the very next game. So I think you definitely improve our team in terms of quality and quantity. So that's the latest on Matheus Cunha. Let's see if Wolves, it's up to him pretty much. So I don't know if Wolves will give him a new contract. I mean, again, as I was saying, he could be. I don't know his character. I don't think I mentioned it. I said I was supposed to say something after that, so I got confused. His character, I don't know him as a person, but the way, it looks to me like that kind of player would be like, no, I'm not playing. I'm going to Arsenal. No, I don't know how to play. I am leaving. Kind of looks like that kind of player. But let's see what happens with that. So that's the latest on Matheus Cunha. Now, if this doesn't work out, we are also linked to a player from Atalanta. Atalanta have been absolutely incredible this season, by the way, and last season as well. They're the Europa League champions. We obviously played them at the beginning of the season. Also said to be interested in Atalanta's Mateo Retegui. I think it's Retegui. We played them this season. We played them this, and I think he's the one who missed a penalty this season against us. And I've been watching Atalanta in Italy a lot, and it's been amazing so far. The Gunners are joined by Aston Villa following the recent news of Matheus Cunha's contract talks at Wolves. Now, Retegui has been very, very good for Atalanta this season. I only really started watching him this season. I think he's actually been in the Serie A for only 2 seasons. I think before that he was in Argentina for most of his career, and he's 25 years of age right now. So most of his career has been in South America. He's only been in Europe for 2 seasons. I don't remember which team he was last season. I think it was Genoa or something, but Atalanta, this is his first season. And within a couple of months, he hit the ground running right away and he was actually in the Euros team for Italy, and he played well. So far this season, he's played 17 matches, 12 goals and 3 assists. And that is just in the league. And in the Champions League, 6 matches, 2 goals. As I said, I think he missed a penalty against us when Raya made that double save, but he's been exceptional this season. Him and I think his name is De Catalera. the Belgian guy who plays for Atalanta, and Lookman as well. Those guys have been absolutely incredible. Zappacosta, Kolasinac, all those guys have been really good for Atalanta. And Retegui would be a good signing. 25 games, 14 goals, 4 assists. That is a good return so far this season. But my worry is usually signing a player who only has like 1 season and half a season of a CV of 1 season, usually very risky. A lot of people have been talking about Mamouche. At least he's had 2 good seasons at Frankfurt. The thing with players like Retegui, it's 1 season. The same way United signed. I think it's probably the one who replaced Højlund at Man. Was it the one? He's the one. I think he could be the one that like kind of replaced Højlund over at Atalanta. And Højlund only had like a good season, and Man United signed him, and you've seen how that one went. Pepe had like 1 good season at Lille. We signed him. We saw how that one went. Usually when you sign a player after 1 good season, you never know. Column 1 is another good example as well. He had 1 good season in his team. PSG signed him, and then it doesn't work out. So you have to be very careful in terms of signing players who've only had 1 good season in their teams. But again, just like CUNHA, Retegui or don't sign anyone, I'll probably get Retegui. So I would like him as a signing, but first, as always, it would still be CUNHA if it's between all of these players. But let's see how that one develops. But I'm sure we are going to sign a forward player. All the links going around. But again, Aston Villa also want him, so let's see how that one goes. If CUNHA doesn't join us, so we'll see how it goes at Atalanta. So that's the latest in terms of that. What about players leaving? We'll also cover a bit of injury news. Celtic are in talks with Arsenal regarding a move for Kieran Tierney, with the player keen on the move. This is according to Fabrizio Romano. We know he's going to leave. Personally, I did say I don't think we have enough players at the moment. I don't think we can afford to sell players in January up until the end of the season. But I think there's players who could leave, maybe a Tierney or Kivio, one of them. And most likely it's going to be Tierney. He played very well the game he played for us, but he's not going to get too many chances now that Calafia is back. Lewis Kelly is emerging as a very, very promising talent. Zinchenko is back in the team, expecting to be here until the end of the season at least. Kivia is there as well. You have Timbo can play as a left back. I don't see Tierney getting too many opportunities, and yeah, so he's going to have to move on. So if you can get a little bit of fee for him, even if it's on loan, I think they're going to pay us like 3 million loan fee, and then it goes on the free at the end of the season. Yeah, he's not an Arteta player. That's the truth. I didn't even expect Tierney to play for Arsenal again. I was very surprised to see him in the team recently, and he was only there because he got injured and he stayed at us. He wouldn't have been here this season. So that is just the truth. Let's see if he actually ends up joining Celtic, his former club, obviously. A little bit of injury news. Tomiyasu. Someone did talk to me about Tomiyasu yesterday. Someone was asking why is Tomiyasu still at Arsenal? Well, the truth is, I think he was recently given a new contract, and the truth is, even if we wanted to sell Tomiyasu today, there's no one who's going to buy him. He's been injured for such a long time. So that is pretty much why we had to keep Tierney as well, because there was no one who was going to buy him with that injury record. So we have to as well keep Tomiyasu and hopefully he comes back and he does help us for a few games between now and the end of the season. Arteta did say this about him. Tommy has done some stuff on the pitch, but because it's been a long-term injury, we need to see how quickly he can progress and how he reacts. Now, before Tim was in the team and Calafia is in the team, I still think Tomiyasu is the best in terms of man marking. Like, we used to play a team like Liverpool, everyone would ask for Tomiyasu to mark Salah. Like, Tomiyasu is very good in terms of that. And he's only played like a few minutes this season against Southampton, which is absolutely crazy. But listen, if Tomiyasu comes back and we don't have to use him every single day, he comes on for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and he can stay fit, that would be a lot of help for us as well, just to have more options since Ben White is out. Speaking of Ben White, this is what I had to say about him. Ben White is still a few weeks away. It might be a possibility to be back before the end of the January, which is great, but he hasn't done anything with the team. The knee looks good. He's reacted really well in the first few weeks. Everything is going smoothly. So the good thing is we don't really have to rush a player like Ben White back. 2 seasons ago, when we didn't have players like Tim and Calafia in the team, and we had players like Holding and players like that, we had to rush Ben White back because we didn't have any other options. Right now, I don't think we have to rush players back. Like Calafia came back a couple of weeks ago. We didn't have to rush him back to the team because we have Lewis Kelly. If that time Gabriel was out for a game or two, we didn't have to rush him back because Kivia just played well in the previous game. Right now, Ben White doesn't have to be rushed back because Timber is in the team. Lewis Kelly can cover that. Lo and behold, even Partey can play right back. We don't have to rush players back. But the thing is, we have such a good defense. I always think, imagine if Ben White was fit and Tomiyasu was fit, and we'd keep clinches in every single game. Like, that is a very, very strong defense. Like, and as Alex Ferguson said back in the day, defense wins you titles. So that is what would be great for us. So let's see how Ben White recovers. I also had this to say on Sterling. He's starting to do some stuff on the pitch, so that's great news. We want him available as quick as possible. Let's see how he progresses next week, and then see if we can get him available for the following week. Again, we don't have enough players. I know he's not really contributed to the team too much this season. He has not really been played, to be honest. Especially in the league, not really. The only game that he was playing well against Bournemouth, he got subbed off. So we need him back. We need players there to have, players on the bench, players who can cover. There's a lot of competitions coming up. FA Cup, Carabao Cup is there, Champions League is there, Premier League is there. Like a game like against Girona, the final game in our league phase, Champions League thing, I would want Sterling to start a game like that, the final one, if you're already through, or even if just need a point to clinch top 3 or something, you play Sterling in a game like that, because right now we don't have enough players, and I don't know how quickly you're going to sign players during this transfer window. But let's see, he should be back soon. So yeah, that is the latest news. That is the latest news on transfer news and also injury news. Let's see how that one goes. Tomiyasu, that's the latest. Ben White, that's the latest. Sterling, that's the latest as well. Hopefully these players are back soon, because we definitely do need them. Let me know what you make of the transfer news. Would you be happy with Cunha joining Arsenal? Are you happy with Retegui from Atalanta potentially joining us if the Cunha deal doesn't happen? Let me know. So those are the kind of players you have to look at. And don't think you're going to get a player like Isaac. If we got Isaac in the January transfer window, that would be mind-blowing. Like, that would be a game changer. But it's very difficult to get players like that in January. Those teams are trying to fight for something, but you still have to get options, other options, like we did with Trossard a couple of years ago. You get another option, and it can still work out. So yeah, that's the latest. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you make of all that, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.